Hello Blues fans, we're back with another episode of MonBlues Podcast. This week we're joined by former club member Sam Ramage, who's now involved with Malta Rugby. How are you doing, Sam?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's finally got out release freedom today in Malta, so that's 12 weeks in lockdown for me, and finally got out to play today, this morning a little bit at least. So yeah, I'm doing fine, mate.
You're lucky to get you in that bit, aye.
So how did rugby start off for you, Sam? How did rugby come about in your life?
Well, brought up and raised in down in Kelso in the Borders. So obviously, you know, the heritage is down there, and it was always fun when Kelso and Kirkcaldy played each other. You know, when I was up at Kirkcaldy during my college years, that was always good times. You know, seeing Roxy and all the guys coming up and whatnot. But yeah, basically, you know, just the same as everybody else in Scotland, really. You know, through school, and you know, you play for the high school teams, and then you start going with the club, and you know, but because of my like medical condition, I have, you know, I was never going to be the best player. So when I went up to college in Kirkcaldy at Fife Tech, everybody remembers Fife Tech, right? So went up there, and you know, first thing any rugby person does is go and look at the local rugby club, and that's what we done. And ended up being involved with under Ron with the Colts. So that was fun. But he always said I was a bit of a useless plugger, so didn't see much game time. But I think he was being more protective for me, to be honest with you. But he's some man, like, you got to love old Ron.
Absolutely, he's still about the club, and that it still stands in the same place he's always stood down next to the bar. And he's watching games, so he can nip in for a dram.
He's still after that dram. Is it the Bridge or Glen or something he drinks?
Cameron Brigg, was it? Or something? I think I can't remember. I probably brought him 5 or 6 as well. Yeah, so just basically from there, mate, went into coming out, stayed up in Kirkcaldy after college finished, and then got involved with the club. I was coaching with the minis and middies on a Sunday morning, with Heather running the show, Heather Bonner, and then after that just started moving up the grades a little bit. I ended up in my last season before leaving Kirkcaldy to come out to Malta. I was coaching with Big Mitch. He was head coach for the Colts, so I was coaching with him. And I'd done my referee course, which Kirkcaldy Rugby Club put me got me to go through, which got done at Stirling, I think it was. They done the level 1 then, and yeah, the opportunity came up to go to Malta and be the youth development officer for Malta Rugby. So basically, you know, grassroots rugby. Never heard of a rugby ball or the game called rugby, because it's just football and water polo. I mean, obviously they have Drago that plays snooker, or had. You know, and rugby was not really on the map within schools. There's not many people, you know, knew what was going on in that area. So yeah, it was a good start, and thought that was the history really for getting there, mate. You dropped a few names there as well, and Heather Bonner and Ron Ferguson, legends, absolute legends of the club.
Yeah, I mean, clubs didn't run with it, these people.
Oh, honestly, you couldn't say a true word, mate.
Big Mitch, Ron, Jimmy Bonner, Heather, you know, all the guys, you know, even the presidents and stuff like that, you know, Don Burns, you know, all these chaps, you know, even the lasses behind the bar. You know, I mean, for some time I was actually working behind the bar God, for some time. I can't mind the lassie that was in charge back then, though, but I can't mind her name. But yeah, it was fantastic, mate. I mean, it's great memories, good end. I've been back a few times to Kirkcaldy. You know, I think Jimmy was president at the time, and I said I was coming across. Any chance I could run a line? He was like, "No bother." And, you know, got it sorted. So I think it was against a home game against Biggar.
Save him from doing it. That's the last thing we want is him running touch again, throwing the flag at folk.
Putting the flag up, and the flag no is flying on the pitch.
So you were saying about rugby in Malta, Sam. So is there much rugby happening now in Malta? Is it growing as a sport? Is the uptake growing?
Yeah, basically, our season runs from November through to April, and then in May you have a lot of touring teams with the vets and clubs international teams and stuff like that, which is usually about 4 good events in May, which keeps us very busy. But after then, you can't really be playing any rugby because the ground's solid. I mean, it's worse than concrete. Because at least concrete, it's concrete. You hear you've got grass and you think it's grass, but it's actually solid underneath. And you could sit and water the pitch all morning long. Within an hour, it's bone rock hard grass. So our season it's a short season, to be fair, but we get a good amount of games in. But currently, the rugby was stopped in March, because of obviously the pandemic, and nothing's happened since then, but I was put in charge of the Referees Association in Malta. So I'm the interim referee manager because the other lad stepped down, and unfortunately, he had to leave. So we've been busy getting things put in order, getting people on board. Did a big recruiting campaign for officials, and also to back that, the first thing you need is funds. Because you need funds to be able to, develop refs and develop players and everything like that. So, got the only way that I could think was to, we discussed it within the committee, was to, ask people that still love and have a passion for the game, and that's ex-international players, who are very good friends and I've known for God knows how many years, because my brother used to play at Kirkcaldy mine for a while, and when he was up at Dundee in the forces, and then he's got his Malta caps and that, so that's the connection really there. And basically from there, spoke to several people, and they were more than happy to sponsor. A couple of them said, "We'll not give you money, but we'll fully kit you out." So we've got a full kit for all the refs. So that's fantastic. That means that we didn't have to worry about kit. That's a 3-year thing, which is fantastic. We got some financial backing as well from sponsors, and with that we just wouldn't be able to keep doing what we're doing. So got seven or 8 new officials. So I call them match officials because they're all sort of touch judges and assistant referees, and at that point they're not referees. So, and for me, there has to be a progression. That can't be just suddenly become a referee, because you either like it or you don't. And you've got to take your time to build up your knowledge and understanding the game. And the best way to do that is being a touch judge, and then maybe an AR, and do your level 1 match official course. So the plan was, before the pandemic, was to actually get all the match officials through their level 1 course during the summer, during the off season. But obviously that all changed because everybody shut down, and let's be honest, when everybody comes back on board to run the courses, all the different unions are going to have a backlog of their own people to do. So never mind going out to another country to do it. So what we done was said, right, spoke to the director of rugby, and came up with a plan, which basically is that I've been running Zoom interactive meetings course. Over the fundamentals of being a referee, including whistle, communication, signals, understanding of offside, advantage, scrum, line out, tackle, ruck, on the ground, all the different stuff, and you'd be surprised at how many referees don't even know how to blow a whistle properly, or even the different noises that you get from a whistle and how you get those different noises, Plus, there has to be consistency, because as anybody knows in rugby, everybody, you'll even agree with this. Well, on any supporter or any coach, players, all they want is consistency.
Yeah, definitely.
So the way to get that is to everybody starts learning the fundamentals. So that's what I've been doing. Obviously, refereeing is a practical thing, so you've got to do the hard graft on the pitch. And now we're starting to come out the lockdown things. We'll start doing the practical side, have sessions down at Marsa, down at our sports facility, where the pitches are, and then in September we're going to be starting to run, I believe, some courses for level 1 sevens, level 2 sevens, same for 15s, which it's a combined education course where you've got the players, the coaches, the officials all doing the same thing, so that way they're getting the experience in that. And it's a part of their way of learning and understanding the game. And at the end of the day, even if they only want to referee youth matches and they're happy to do that, that's fine. You'll get some people that want to stay at that level, others want to maybe go a wee bit further, next level and stuff like that, which is great. You need referees at all different levels, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what I've been doing, apart from, you know, doing quiz nights and stuff like that, you know, keeping them busy and whatnot. So we're coming to the end of that Zoom interactive stuff in the next week or two, which is perfect timing because it's working, you know, that we can get down to Mars and start going over some stuff.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and then, so how many clubs is there that are playing rugby in Malta, and what's kind of the level that the games are getting played at?
Okay, well, there's, I think, 6 clubs. So there's Falcons, who won the league this year because mathematically they'd won the league just before the season got stopped. So that was their first time actually winning the league ever. Great. So, you know, the celebrations unfortunately didn't go their way for being able to do it because obviously, you know, with everything going on, but I'm sure they'll have it now that it's coming in. Congratulations to them. So we've got Falcons, you've got Cavalieri, Overseas, Stompers, and there's a new club that's coming up through the time called Wolves, which I believe are based at the university, but they've created a club ethos and team around that, and they've got all teams have a women's side as well. So they're, you know, that's grown. When I first came over, there was 3 or 4 women's sides, so now there's 5. I think it's possibly coming up 6 because Valletta, who used to have a senior side and some youth, there was a mass exodus, if you like, with Valletta a few years back, where all the senior players sort of all retired, you know, and they didn't have the youth through the system yet and all the rest of it. So they're up and coming again, you know, but it takes some time, like any development, you know, club within. But yeah, there's all the clubs have a youth set up. They've all got, you know, the seniors, and they've got the women's play 7s. So you know, that's good, and they're very good at playing 7. In fact, they can teach the guys a thing or two playing over here. That's for sure.
Yeah, so it seems like it's kind of growing out to be a bigger sport in Malta, then kind of compete with football and water polo.
Yeah.
Do you see that there's more younger people beginning to take it up in Malta?
Yeah, definitely. 100%, mate. I mean, so like I said, when I first came across here, you know, the rugby at youth level was very much non-existent, and within schools especially. I think there was only really 1 or 2 clubs that had any sort of youth section back then. But I mean, that was 13, 14 years ago, you know. So when I came over as, you know, as a YDO for Malta Rugby, part-time job, but ended up doing 70, 80 hours a week, you know, as you do, because it's a passion, and, you know, you just get stuck in. So going into schools, you know, I mean, the first thing, the academic pressure here is massive. It's huge. It's such a small island, everybody's competing against everybody. And a typical day for a kid is they get up in the morning, they go for a private lesson. They go to school. They come back from school, they go to a private lesson. They come home and do their homework. And then basically it's dinner time in bed. I mean, that's pretty much, you know, the sort of standard. It certainly was that, and it still is more or less that now. So you had to educate the parents before you could educate the kids when it came to getting into the rugby. So, of course, you'd go into school, you'd give them a wee card, you know, like a business card sort of thing, you know, saying that they thought this tag rugby or touch rugby and stuff like that, you know, because obviously you kind of do contact within the schools, especially, you know, at such a young level. So you'd get, you know, the kid would go home and say, Mum, I've had rugby today, you know, all excited and all the rest of it, you know, because they just loved it. And then their mother would be like, rugby? What's this? So, of course, what do? You go on YouTube, rugby, what comes up? Biggest 10 hits ever, smash, bang, you know, all that. You get the parents going, you're not playing that. You need your hands for your exams, and you know, you break your legs and all that stuff, you know. But you know, it was like I say, you had to educate the parents, and you know, typically that's just the way it was, and it certainly has moved on from then. I mean, there was zero rugby in schools when I first started, and then by the end of the third scholastic season, when I had to stop for medical reasons, I had coached 18,000 school children within 3 scholastic years.
Right.
And we got from 0 games to 524 games in the last season alone. And that included, big massive events that we had, inter-class competitions, inter-school competitions, school against school, the whole thing. So it was a massive, massive journey for me. I learned lots and lots, and the passion just came, all the way back from, coming away from Kirkcaldy and, coming to the Borders, and absolutely loved it. I love coaching, and I'm a qualified CMO now, which means, referee coach. I'd done that a couple of years back out in Sweden, done that course. And, whether it's coaching a rugby team where you see an individual within a team and a team grow, to something that you've helped create, and seeing them, get to the highest level that they can achieve. There's some lads that I got from schools are now playing international rugby for Malta, and that's the thanks that you need, that you get, that the lad that you helped get from the schools actually made it and got his international caps, and that's all the thanks you want, you don't need.
It's really rewarding to
probably
see.
To get, when you get somebody coming up to you and you walking past in the street and they go, "Hey, coach," I'm like, "Yeah."
I know.
You're going, "Who are you?" Do you not remember he's going, I remember what school that was again. So, I mean, we covered all the bases, as I say, it was on my own doing it, and we covered all the bases: government, private, church, all the different schools, all that. And we made a massive hit. We absolutely smashed the target for getting kids to join clubs, and we actually started after school sessions as well, within the schools. So they're building up the team. The players would come down and join clubs. So obviously, geographically, you'd put them to where their club trained, that kind of thing that suited them best. And we built up to something that we've got now. Malta's doing very, very well as a country. International, we win very, very regularly. I would say probably, well, in fact, I would say, yeah, definitely, there's no other sport that will win so much at international level in Malta. I think they're currently ranked 38th or 39th in the world. So that's massive, for a country that only has 500,000 people, and we've probably got up to 1,000 players total, with all the different age grades, with the women and the men's, I think we're ranked something like early 20s or something like that in Europe as well. So we're not far off. We're playing in the North Conference 1, which is only, so you've got, 6 nations, and then second tier 6 nations, then trophy, and then you've got North Conference 1. So Malta Rugby's been really good at, we've been challenging to get into the trophy competition, and we're looking forward to making that next step.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds very good. And one of the other things was the Kirkcaldy Rugby Zingari came over to Malta on a tour a few years back. Has Malta ever recovered from that, or will they ever?
I genuinely don't think Malta will ever recover from Zingari actually being over. But
Euros, a lot of them.
Yeah. Basically, when they came over, typical vet side, everybody's out in the lash, and that's what it is. And then we were all out one night. I think it was a Friday night actually. It was like the welcoming thing, and there was this English team. I can't mind who they were, and they were all like, "Oh, we're going to smash you. We're going to have you," and all the rest of it. And of course that was it. Jimmy Bonner was like, "I'm not doing none of that." So like anything we do, boys, we're nailing it, and. It was unbelievable because Zingari actually won the whole tournament. And they didn't lose a match. In fact, the one they scored upon, apart from the only try they gave up was against Malta, the Maltese side, which was fantastic. The whole experience, being around the guys, the Sunday, event that they do, and I've been over and refereed at St Andrews when they were up at St Andrews one year. We had the French lads over, and
it's just nice being around them, and I can't wait to get that opportunity again, just to be around the guys again, you know. But I tell you, just talking about Kirkcaldy there, I mean, I remember, as I say earlier, I was never the best player, but I always made the third 15 team, which is basically the pub team, you know, and that's the fantastic part about, you know, clubs where you know, you've got the worst player on the planet can still get around it, you know, with the pub 15 tonight, you know. And I remember, you know, I've never, because I used to play hook. I don't know how I used to get to play hook, but I played hook anyway. At least that's what I put my hand up for.
Yeah.
I can throw a ball straight.
In the volunteer, aye.
I can still throw a ball straight, so we're all about that. But I've never ever played in a scrum in all my life that I'd played with the guys at Zingari. So you had what was his name? What's his name? Oh, you're going to have to edit this bit. I'm going to start swearing.
Was it Willie Anderson? Was it?
Right, Willie Anderson and Tribey.
Oh, big boys.
Well, I remember. I think we were playing against. Who's the team that's doing next to Dunfermline?
Rosyth.
Is it Rosyth? Yeah, was it Rosyth? Well, it begins by an F. Maybe it begins by an F.
Falkirk.
Anyway, no matter. You can edit that bit.
Make something up.
Beep. So we were playing against them at home at Berry Park, and it was like we were 15 metres out or something like that. And oh my God, I've never felt a scrum move in such a fashion in my life. We were just sitting there, and suddenly it just went, whomp. Christ, what was that? Well, they just decided to shift for a change, you know. I remember tackling Tribey once. Well, if you can call it tackling Tribey, I jumped on his back and he eventually fell over.
I had to do the old speed bump against him. I just threw around as low as I could.
Fantastic memories. I mean,
great people.
You just don't take that. And you know, they had a dinner a wee while back, I think, for the Colts and stuff like that. And I was desperate to get over, but I never. Yeah. I'd love to get over and be a part of that again. You know, especially with World Run and that, and get him a few of his wee drams.
I'm sure he'd thank you for them.
You're probably coming in and say you're still a useless.
Well, he's always been honest and straight to the point, Ron.
Yeah, some of the other memories at Kirkcaldy for me is that, like, when you coaching at coach level and that, and you've got, you know, lads like Harvey and you know, Matt Wallace and that, you know, and they made it all the way. Playing for the teams, you know, the first one and that, and then, you know,
club captains and that, you know, they became.
You know, so it's nice seeing these guys. You know, in fact, Harvey actually was out in Malta a few years back. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
He was out with one of the vessels.
Working with Babcock.
Stopped in Malta, and we met up, and we're at the Corks bar and Scotsman bar, and I think we just played it. He played the game actually. I think it was refereeing it, and we met up in that. So it was grand, you know. It was nice catching up with folk like that, you know. He's got some talent as well, that lad. He went across the Atlantic, didn't he?
Yeah. He rowed, didn't he? 4 of them row across or something like that before Christmas there, aye.
Yeah.
Oof. Machine.
More balls than that, what they got.
It'd be a cruise liner for me, that's anyway.
Yeah, and then Corgi, would you like to crack on with the bag then?
Yep, the bag now is doing the world tour, so it's been New Zealand, it's been all over Scotland and that sort of stuff. It's now going to Malta, so the bag has got a number of objects in it, a couple of objects in it, mate. So all I want you to do is, so it's either reminisce about yourself, a wee story, if you've got one, or if you've not got a story about yourself, about somebody you know that maybe goes ahead. But I think the obvious one to come out straight away.
Get ready with that button, Ollie.
Is this, mate? You are a bearded warrior at the moment. Tell people the story about this. What's going on?
This is basically. So I was away on a kind of half round the globe shop refereeing. So I left at the end of February to go to England. I was refereeing in the Midlands, and then over to Canada where I was a part of the Invitational Sevens in Vancouver, and then I was working in the tech zone for the World Series with the World Rugby, which was another fantastic experience. Being right on the sideline, he'd doing watching the games, well, trying not to watch the games because you just whisper.
The paperwork.
There's actually pictures of me sitting there with he'd doing with a guy one of the Kiwi guys trying to get tagged by a Fijian or something. And then flew back to Wales because the intention was I was ready. So the main sponsor for the kit, John Diamond and his daughter. So John Diamond and his daughter, they got the kit for us. And just as a thank you, I'd said I'd stop in and referee a game at his local club, and say thank you, And I was intending to catch the Wales Scotland game for the Six Nations. Well, obviously everything was fine until 24.
Yeah. I'd got to Gloucester. Me and my son had driven to Gloucester on the Friday. Oh dear.
Yeah. So I mean that all went downhill for there, and so 2 days before I flew back to Malta. The Maltese government said, so anybody flying back has to, mandatory quarantine for 14 days. I was like, right, fair enough, Phoned my daughter up, I said, listen, go to my work, grab my laptop and all the rest of it, and I'll work from home. So, yeah, no bother. So, coming up the end of the 2 weeks, I'm brand new, get a chance, get out the door and all the rest of it. It was like a kind of 2 week holiday, no having to do much, working from home, just get on with it. And then 2 days before that, the government says, so vulnerable people in 65 plus years of age are to stay at home unless absolutely necessary. I'm like, Christ.
Yeah.
So I phones my cardiologist and she says, yeah, you're vulnerable, don't you dare go. So somebody had posted on Facebook with the referees and they said, challenge, no haircut, no trimming the beard, nothing, for your duration until you're free. And that happens today. So I put a poll up on Wednesday on Facebook saying with a smiley face and love, and the actual the love signs said it's got to come off.
Aye.
So what I'm going to do actually is to raise some money for the Referees Association here in Malta. So I'll take the beard off, no issue with that. But I'll if we can raise €250 with donations and that, I'll go as bald as a coot as well.
We'll
find out if my head is really shaped like a rugby ball or not. Let's just say. I mean, it's come well.
It's a beauty. It's a Mark Wallace sort of special. It's got a bit of body about it.
Mark Wallace, he can grow them, mind. He doesn't need to kill them. He's just taking me 12 weeks. He can grow them rapidly.
He put his Dream 15 on a couple of weeks ago, and I could hardly see his mouth moving for beard.
I mind that. I mind when he shaved it and all.
Oh,
who the hell are you?
I know. I walked past him in the street. Like you're saying with the kids and that, I don't know who that is. Brilliant. Okay, we'll move on then. Okay, another one I've got here, obviously, as you said.
If you see that donation thing, just you start getting...
Are you doing it just giving, or will it just be on your page, Sam?
I'll sort of...
Shameless plug here, folks. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug, we'll have a chat after about which one to use, but I'll get that set. I spoke to my barber, who's a sponsor for the association as well.
Oh, great.
And he's like, yeah, I'll take care of that, no problem, we'll do it a nice video and everything.
Joy,
he's the guy that does my, he takes it all off for me with the blade and whatnot.
I love those. We've got a lot of... Turkish, they call themselves barbers. There's not one person from Turkey who cuts your hair in Fife. I don't think, but the shaves are just fantastic. Right, going on to, I know you're youth development coach and that sort of stuff, but we've spoken a lot about your refereeing and certainly your assistant refereeing, So I've got a set of flags here that I use. These are mine. Don't let the SRU see them because they're stolen.
they need to be getting sent over in the post. I haven't got a pair of Scottish.
I need to get them across to you, mate. That could be my sponsor. So you've worked with a lot of people. Who are some of the famous people you've worked with then, as maybe an AR or across from with that?
One of the top lads that you probably know more recently came out to referee back in 2000.
16, Malta versus Israel.
Was it Sam?
No. It was a guy called Craig Evans.
Oh, yeah, from Wales,
Craig Evans came out to do a Malta-Israel game for a European Nations Cup. And
he's one of these bags before, sorry to interrupt, but one of these bags before had a fake tan thing in it. Talk to Craig Evans, you know.
The clippers would have worked for him because he shaved his head and all. So yeah, I mean, Craig came out to referee that game, and I was his AR for that. So it's been a privilege.
Good referee, solid referee. I know he does a lot of sevens, but he does a lot of 15s in Wales as well. You know,
he's as far as I know, he's the only referee on the HSBC Sevens circuit to ever, on his first season, referee both finals back to back. So he done the first final in Dubai, because that's the first one, and then South Africa the week after he done that final. So he's the only referee that, as far as I know, that's ever done that and ever accomplished that back to back.
Yeah, because there's quality going through that HSB 7 rank. You know, we've got Sam.
Sam came out a few years back as well to Malta.
I remember him going out.
He refereed a league or a cup match, I think it was, and I was his AR for that. So that was nice. I've met Sam a few times, obviously, on the circuit, and Craig as well. In fact, I went to part of the Invitational, and there was went out to watch the Las Vegas Sevens. 2018. It was 2018.
The really windy one, was that the one where there was wind blowing right down the centre of the pitch or something like that? Or was that
I think so, yeah. That's Sam Boyd Stadium, and you know, met Craig out in Vegas there, and you know, and catched up with him. It was nice actually just getting to see the guys again. Same thing out in Vancouver again. So yeah, they're probably, you know, obviously, you know, the biggest person I probably met, everybody loves and hates in Scotland. I'm sure you can guess who that is.
Big Craigie Juba.
That'll be the one,
we were saying this morning, his name's almost like Voldemort in Scotland. You know, you shouldn't really say it out loud. And that.
That's it. So he's an absolute top.
A gem of a man, aye.
Him and Paddy are absolutely brilliant, and they do a really good job with the guys. But I met Jubes in my first trip abroad. So that's when my referee really started to get a bit more serious, and I took it on board with. Back in 2015 when I went out to Dubai. So there's like hundreds and hundreds of applications to go to referee in Dubai, but it's an invitation, sort of thing. And I managed to get, you know, selected for a thing, which I was obviously chuffed as, you know, to do that. And you've got to, you know, pass certain criteria, you know, with your yo-yo or your bleep test and all.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So, it's a shift and a half, mind. It's no easy going. It's hard graft. Like there's there's about 60 or 70 referees as a group, you know, for the Invitational. There's something like 600 odd games, if not more, you know, that you've got to get through. You know, I
know we normally send 2 or 3 out, you know, to get that experience. They do the lesser tournaments. I think we Roscoe went out and that sort of stuff. We really enjoy it. Come back with some great experience, some great stories as well.
So you get taken out, obviously, you know, as a welcoming things where you get to meet the referees, the HSBC series refs and stuff. And here's Jubes, you know, so he's chatting away to folk and whatnot, you know. Of course, I got to meet Rasta as well, you know, and Rasta, you know, fantastic, best for me. He's best sevens ref. He's one of his personality. He's just fantastic to be around, you know. And can't say enough, can't talk highly enough about the guy. But yeah, it was, you know, I had a chat with, you know, walked up to Jubes and shook his hand. How you doing, Craig? You all right? He just looked at me and said, Scottish? And I was like, no more.
You're looking for an exit.
You know, the handshake was enough.
That's it.
I mean, you know, everybody, you know, for whatever reason, you know, have their own opinions about what happened and all the rest of it. But every referee has turned around and said they'd make the same call because, you know, it just looks like it is offside. You know,
it does. Yeah.
And you know, that's probably the highest sort of guy that I've.
You don't get much higher. World Cup final referee, you know. Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Another thing we're doing is asking guests, obviously with the tour next year to South Africa, if it goes ahead still.
Going.
Yeah. I'm going. Me and my wife are going. We're going to make it's our 30th wedding anniversary.
Have you gone?
I've not been on one yet, so this is the first one I've gone. I would love to go next year, and go do some safari, get a couple of braais going, that sort of stuff. But it'd be interested to hear if you think there's a chance for any Scottish players via Heritage and Kelson Kirkcaldy starting maybe in the test teams across there. You think there's anybody at the moment who's got a bit of potential, who can shine, especially out in those hard grounds in South Africa at altitude?
Yeah, I mean, every year or every 4 years I'll turn around and say, I could think of 4 or 5 players that have a chance of going. But you're competing against English and Welsh lads and Irish, obviously. I mean, in England, they've got just so much of a bigger group of players that they can choose from.
Yeah.
But you could put your hand on heart and say, well, Hoggy's going for sure.
Yeah. I think so.
Gatland's already said as much anyway.
I think Gatland liked him, before, and he got injured, unfortunately. But he really liked.
He actually said they would have been the starting 15 for the first test, because on the DVD after he said it was a shame what happened to him. He was named down for the starting 15. So, so Hoggy for sure. I think Finn Russell would get a chance, definitely. I can't see him not going. It'd be a crying shame if he didn't get a chance to go to the Lions, especially when they brought him over, didn't they, last time?
I think did play midweek or something because they were touring Australia. Were
they in Australia or Argentina? One or two,
something or Fiji or something. They were touring nearby, and they came across 2 or 3 of them.
So definitely those two for hands down anyway. But I think you've got Nell maybe, and I would definitely say Gray. Gray's got a good shout.
Powerful guy, and that running well with the ball. We need some physicality out there, I think, and that's what they would bring. Nell and Gray especially,
Hooker wise, I'm not so sure. Because there's a lot of hookers, that.
I like them both. They are converted back row, which is probably a good thing. But I think the line-out's going to be quite intense. Where Baggett's a bit standing at the front. Pressure, and you need somebody that's going to have a dart on them.
Definitely. I think so. You mean Hoggy, Russ, what was that? I've just forgotten his name now. So you got
Nell,
Nell, and Gray. Maybe a chance for a scrum half going out. You never know.
We were just discussing that, the 2 scrum halves at the moment are live wires, and would take defences on, and take the back row on, which I think again you've got to do with South Africa. You've got to frustrate them.
I'll tell you on, I think the better question is probably say, will Townsend, will Tooney go as a coach?
What a great question, because I know he turned it down in the past to concentrate on the home stuff.
He's Scotland job, isn't he? So but I think if the opportunity is there, he'll take it. And I think he's said it as well, isn't he?
I believe so. I know there's numbers, and I think he's really. I watched a webinar with him a couple of weeks ago, and he's growing and maturing as a coach. And I think these are the kind of things he needs to put in his CV, so that in 4 years' time, maybe he becomes the lead coach. Him, maybe somebody else.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a great call.
Well, Tooney, he gets classed as being Scottish, so a Scottish select player.
Definitely.
I think I'd be happy if we get 4.
Yeah,
I'd be happy if we get 4.
That would be a real bonus on what's happened in the past. There's been dribs and drabs in the past, and I think this time, for the first time in a long time, they're competitive all over the park. And
was it 2009 or 2009 or 2013? It was like the sole person. It was like
13, I think. 13. There was one or something.
That was it. I think 2009 was it? He was the only one that got.
Yeah, he came on in South Africa, didn't he? And he played in the 3rd test or something like that, And it was the doldrums. So to watch them develop and come through and getting a wee bit of a spin is great. Anyway, that's the bag, mate. That's the bag done. Hand you back to Murray. Murray takes it on home from here and rounds everything up.
Fair enough. Hello, how you doing, Murray?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So just to round off the show, Sam. If there was one thing you could change, whether it was about rugby in general or Malta Rugby, what would you change to improve rugby?
So can you ask that one again, please, mate? Because
you went like Max Headroom there for a while. Who know who he is? Really?
It was like he was talking from behind them as well.
So if you had to improve one thing about rugby or change something that would be?
Am I right in understanding the question is if I had to change anything or develop something?
You want to make a development in rugby, how are you going to improve it as a sport or a spectator sport?
So a couple of things really. So I think in regards to law, in my opinion, we need to have less scrums. So maybe take the scrum options away. For decisions like instead of being a scrum option, make it a free kick.
I think these are getting bounced about. I did read something last week.
I think although World Rugby haven't stated as much, but I think the whole pandemic COVID thing and the measures that they're saying that you can use and things like that, where they're saying have a free kick instead of a scrum. I think that's possibly an introduction going forward anyway.
Yeah.
But so definitely in law, I think we need to have less scrums. Although I don't want to see scrums completely going away at all, because I think it's not fair to do that to clubs and teams who are their speciality is scrums and lines.
Yeah. And we are meant to be the sport for everybody, but the sport for everybody shape and that.
It's not fair to penalise a team because they're very good at having a scrum, and you can't do that. So can you imagine, for example, Kirkcaldy? If they say right, we're taking the scrums away.
Well, we won a league 2 seasons ago on that very thing. With power, with pure power.
I was there running the line.
That's right. Aye. Scrums going again. Aye.
It was what do you call him? Last season, his coaching.
Big Kenny.
Kenny, I was Kenny.
Big Kenny.
Let's leave Kenny subject of his nakedness and things.
The push-up challenge.
That was brilliant, wasn't it? It was brilliant. Some man, Kenny, lovely.
Definitely.
But yeah, I'd definitely look at changing how the scrum options, as in it's not an option any longer. Your free kick kind of thing,
Yeah.
So more ball and play time and more enjoyment for the players and the spectators, and including the man in the middle, for the rest.
Yeah, definitely.
On a bigger scale, I think the global calendar, in my opinion, does need to happen. How it happens, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that now's an ideal opportunity for that to be sort of not finalised, I feel like, but real constructive effort from all the different unions. Zanzar and the Six Nations and stuff. And maybe one of the other things is like you've got academies and things like that. So the youth, that player goes into the system through the academy and then he comes through, but you don't really get a chance then, unless you won't get to play for the top team unless you've been through the academy. So you don't get the opportunity anymore to go and play for a club. For their first 15. Mm-hmm. So I think that that kind of aspect's been lost a little bit, probably because of obviously the money involved in the game and the professionalism and stuff like that. But it'd be nice to to see the guy that comes twice a week into the club, works his butt off, and the lassie working on butt off, and and earning their stripes to get a chance at the crack at the first 15 or first 17, whatever it is. Instead of having to go through the academy setup. I'm not sure if that happens or doesn't happen, but it'd be nice to see that.
Yeah, no, they're all good suggestions. And common sense, which is nice to see. I worry sometimes we could lose common sense in rugby, which it still needs to be. It's important as the laws a lot of the time,
I mean, you've got, and on a refereeing side, you've got people like Carl Dickinson, for example, who ex-professional player.
Yeah.
I think was it a shoulder injury they had that he scored for Quins?
Yeah, it was started to niggle, and he had that sort of decision to make, didn't he?
So he's went down the refereeing career. He's done it fantastic. He was the AR for that Scotland Fiji game back in 2008. And that was one of his first games.
Yeah.
as an AR. That was one of his.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 in Glenn Jackson, New Zealand as well. You know, played a lot of rugby in England and then went back and became quite a successful referee.
You know, you've got that pathway kind of thing for professional players, because obviously, you know, their bodies are already, you know, tuned to be fit athletes and things like that. So nutrition, diets and things like that, you know, self-conditioning. But then I'd like to see maybe second-tier nation referees getting a chance, you know, to really get a crack at, you know, going up. Because I mean, smaller nations, you know, like Malta or, you know, different smaller islands, you know, it's very hard to get up through the grades and you know that kind of thing, because obviously you're not getting seen as much. And you know, and I think, you know, Rugby Europe are doing a fantastic job, and you know, and trying to improve all that. Even like, you know, the coaches, referee coaches and things, you know, and educators, they're all starting to really work together. And you know, why are we going there to educate them? Let's get them here, educate them, and they can run it, you know, so they're getting the word out, you know.
Absolutely.
And it's working, but it's going to take time like everything else. But I'd like to see, you know, that second tier nation referee. I mean, there's a young lad coming up, he's, believe it or not, a Scottish lad, and it's not Sam, a Scottish lad in Switzerland called Ethan Glass. He's just beginning his 4th season as a referee. He's 21, 22-year-old. 22-year-old. Listen to this, right? This is really. So he's already had 4 internationals, right? He's done countless Rugby Europe GP7s finals and stuff,
right?
And he's just until the pandemic kicked in, he was given the next division up, because he came out to Malta and actually refereed Malta versus Cyprus, and we lost that. Can you believe it?
Oh no!
I was going to kill him.
Oh no! That's like could get beat by Dunfermline, man.
No, the Cyprus turned up. They played a really good game that day. Shocking decisions at the scrum time. Ethan Glass.
Well, I know he watches this.
He's coming up, and he's been given appointments for the trophy.
Oh, right.
That's the next level.
Good. I'll be interested to see his name then.
Yeah. So he won't be long until, and he's just been. I think it was last month. He was one of the 50 that was selected for the World Rugby Performance Academy.
Yeah, fantastic.
They usually go to Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
So he's now in that academy now. So he won't be long until you start seeing a lot more of him. Yeah. And he's a fantastic young lad. He's quick as anything. Yeah. He's rapid. Like, I mean, he could walk half it and then sprint the last bit, and he makes it. It's ridiculous, like, you know. Yeah. But, you know, like typically any other referee, usually, you know, probably a bit rubbish at playing, so that's why. But yeah, so there he goes. He's getting a special mention, Mr.
What a plug! What a plug that is!
And Carl Dickinson as well. Carl Dickinson, yes.
That's right. You know you've made it if you've made it on the MonBlues podcast, don't you think, Marseille?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Brilliant.
So that's the end of the show. Thank you very much for your time, Sam. It's much appreciated.
Sam, it's been brilliant. Thank you, mate. Hope you enjoyed it.
No, absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks for sending the message and getting me on the show, mate. It's good talking about memories and bringing back the old days, you know, from back in the Borders and up in Fife and Fife Tech. Placed up many moons ago, but let's not talk about that anymore. Yeah, fantastic. You know, I loved my time at Kirkcaldy Rugby Club. It was always welcoming, and they always still are welcoming. And any opportunity I get to say thank you by coming back and you know, running a line or helping it somehow, I'll always do that, because that's how rugby works. You know, you give back.
Keep it out for the sevens again, mate. We're fingers crossed get a sevens up sooner or later and get across and do some stuff with us.
Put my name down, pal.
Of course I will.
Cool. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Brilliant.